Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees, the podcast. Well, the Yankees finally have their man. Well, they kind of had him originally, but signing lefty Tim Hill, coming back to the Yankees on a one-year deal. And the Yankees making a couple other bullpen moves and things happening in the bullpen, so I'll get you caught up on all that. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to this podcast, Section 420, Talkin Yankees, the podcast, wherever you're listening. And there's also the YouTube version of the show. Afterwards, go to YouTube, look for Section 420, Talkin Yankees, subscribe there as well. Just dropped the latest interview with Russ Lichty. He has a similar podcast called NY Yankee Dad, so we kind of just hashed it up there, so you want to check that out. Just dropped it the other day. So, obviously the Yankees were left out, so to speak, and something I don't know if I covered really here much on the audio podcast, but definitely on the YouTube show. That the Yankees, again, without a lefty, were considering a couple of options, one of them being Tim Hill. And, Tim Hill, when they picked him up last season, that's one of the, check marks for Brian Cashman. Again, sometimes he has clunkers, but sometimes he finds some, diamonds in the rough. Then basically got him off the scrap heap from the Chicago White Sox. Was very good for the Yankees down the stretch. Not going to beat the numbers to death a little bit. Kind of did that on the YouTube version of the show. But again, was very resourceful for the Yankees, as well as pitched a little bit in the postseason. Again, was reliable there as well. And, he's a little long in the tooth. He's going to be 35 coming this February 10th, so it's just about a week from now. But still, for a guy like that, again, he's not a starting pitcher, he's a bullpen guy and kind of a little bit of a specialty guy. So even if he's a little bit older than your normal reliever there, it's not the worst thing in the world, especially for a kind of a lefty that kind of throws a little funky, gets a lot of strikeouts as well as ground balls there. So we've had guys here that have had good half seasons for the Yankees, and they bring them back and they completely implode in the next year. So could that happen to Tim Hill? Very much and very probably expected. And will he be there at the end of the day, when all things said in September of October of 2025? Right now I put it at 30% because, again, a lot of these guys do come back after they show you a little promise and end up failing there, or maybe he just gets hurt. Again, he's 35 years old. But, yeah, but at least to start the season, I think it's a good, solid move for the Yankees. So it turns out to be a one-year deal. It includes a guaranteed $2.5 million, so that's guaranteed for 2025. Now, there is an option for 2026. So if the Yankees want to pick up his contract for 2026, it's $3 million, or they have the option of buying him out for $350,000. So if the Yankees decide they don't want him for 2026, they can just buy him out. And again, I won't beat his numbers to death, but at least what he did in a Yankee uniform, 44 games, pitched to a 2.05 ERA, which is pretty impressive. Now, if you want to combine the work he did in 2024 with the Yankees and the White Sox, the ERA ticks up a little bit to 3.36 there, but really can't blame him for that. The White Sox were just a completely garbage team last season. They were eliminated from the playoffs right away. In fact, I've seen some memes that they've already been eliminated for the 2025 playoffs, so that's how bad they are there. So I can't really beat him up for that. So, good deal for the Yankees, bring him back. He's kind of right now the lone lefty there. Maybe we'll see what the Yankees do in spring training. They'll have some competition, whether they bring another guy in or maybe so they promote someone from AA or AAA there. So you at least want to have at least two lefties in the bullpen for the most part. I think the Yankees can get away with one, at least to start the season. Again, you have some power arms like a Luke Weaver, for example, who it doesn't matter if you have a lefty or righty out, he can strike you out anyway, or someone like Loizaga. Again, who has that sinking fastball. Again, if the Yankees have the one lefty just to start the season off, it's not the worst thing in the world. They can kind of take it from there and see where it goes. Now, some other news, I guess, on the pitching front. Another, a recent reaction, recent news, and then I wasn't even going to react to it, mainly because it was kind of a nothing move. But I guess since we're here talking about pitchers, might as well. And that's the Yankees offering a minor league deal to Carlos Carrasco. You might remember him more recently with the Mets, but bounced around a little bit. Was with the Cleveland Indian organization originally, went to the Mets. Then went back to the Cleveland then Guardians last season. Obviously, not a good season for him last year. Went 3-10. This kind of guy he is fraud to take innings and take a beating there. 5.64 ERA in 21 starts. Now he's going to be 38 years old coming this March there. So here's a guy who's kind of at the end of his rope there. So then let me see, really, what the Yankees see much in him with, especially now it seems like the Yankees have a plethora of starters. You're talking about Stroman and Clark Schmidt, but apparently this is the kind of a guy he's maybe wanted to dump in, AAA just to have in there just in case. Again, pitchers get hurt, things happen. You have double headers, you have rainouts and stuff like that, and it's always good to have some extra arms laying around. He's a good veteran there. Now it seems like he's lost some velocity off the fastball, but I guess maybe what Cashman saw in him, according to Baseball Savant, I guess a lot of his numbers are good, at least in terms of statistics against batters there. So he has a 31% ground ball rate. So I guess about one every time a batter makes contact, more often than not the ball goes on the ground, which you would kind of like. Just more often than not, the defense is able to gobble that up on the infield and get a ground out. And he also has it's still pretty impressive for age 38, a 45.9% chase rate there. So he gets bad as the swing gets at his his pitches, his breaking ball, and stuff like that there. So almost close to 50%. To get batters to swing at his pitches, and that kind of what that means is that basically you might throw a pitch that's between a strike and a ball. Maybe it's it's not a cookie down the middle, but maybe it's on the edges there, and you're still getting batters to chase there. So I guess maybe Cashman saw that, said, all right, his numbers aren't good, but at least he's getting batters to knock the ball on the ground and maybe swing, and when they really don't want to swing, or swing at borderline pitches that are probably balls there. So at least those numbers are impressive enough, and it's just a minor league contract, so you bring him in here. If he completely implodes or fails, whatever, it's high reward if something works out. And chances are maybe he doesn't even make it up here on the major league level. Who knows? And you kind of want to root for him not to, because that means maybe one of the starters are hurt or something's not going well, or Luis Gil's not effective, and obviously you don't want that type of news. Maybe at best if he comes up and maybe becomes some sort of long reliever or something like that, but probably for the starter, if he's going to be a starting type pitcher there, again, he's probably someone maybe just keep down in AAA there and then call him up, if when needed there. So that's Carlos Carrasco. And what I guess news regarding the Yankee bullpen was that, which we covered both here and on the YouTube version of the show, was the arbitration of that's with Mark Leiter Jr. The Yankees pretty much settled contracts with all the players. Seemed like Mark Leiter Jr. is the only one that wanted to go to the arbitrators. Now, Mark Leiter was looking for $2.5 million. The Yankees were offering $2.05 million. So you had a difference of about $450,000 there, and went to arbitration. Actually, arbitration favored the Yankees, and judge gave the judgment to the Yankees. So Mark Leiter there only getting $2.05 million. Don't cry for him. I think with $2 million in change, I think he'll still have a comfortable lifestyle. And again, that's kind of the risk when you go to arbitration a little bit. Maybe the Yankees could have offered more, like $2.1 million there. So maybe he cost himself a few bucks by going to arbitration, but nevertheless, they'd be able to retain him. Again, he was a little disappointing. He was all right when he first came on the scene with the Yankees. Again, I remember he got a couple of big outs during that Phillies, the 3-game sweep the Yankees had there in Philly. Then after that, kind of was a little effective there, kind of a non-story a little bit. But hopefully now that he kind of got everything out of the way, he kind of obviously came in mid-season from the Cubs there. So now he can start the season fresh in a Yankee uniform the whole way there. So perhaps he's a better version of himself. So again, he's going to be in the mix there now with Tim Hill, Jake Cousins, Ian Hamilton, Jonathan Golizika, Fernando Cruz, Luke Weaver, and then of course closing is Devin Williams. And he's again seeing these Yankees putting this bullpen together where maybe they even have too many arms, but of course what's going to happen. People are going to get hurt and stuff like that. And you have a couple of projects here. Fernando Cruz. His strikeout stuff's impressive, but his numbers aren't. Again, has a pretty high ERA, a lot of walks there, but again, when he's on, he's kind of filthy there. So again, Mac Blake is going to have his work cut out for him, getting everybody in line there. So this episode's short and sweet. Yankees needed a lefty, they got a lefty, and they brought Tim Hill back. Obviously, he's going to have a different number. He was number 54 for the Yankees last season. Of course, that went to Max Fried there, so he'll have to pick a number. We'll see what he ends up with ultimately. Probably still, if there's any in the 50s left, he'll probably go with that. Usually you want to at least stay close to what your number was. These baseball players are in that area. Catch you next time.